bigger girl. I've always been a bigger girl, and I was wrestling Sarah Del Rey, who is a wonderful human being. I think she's one of the trainers for WWE, and I was told that we had to do more than and be bigger. And of course, they had a wrestler before us in the match before us that jumped off the stage. So I was told I had to jump off the wall that was on the stage, put my legs down, my knee buckled, and my femur just went, no.
Man, one thing I learned early on as a big motherfucker is if I'm gonna fall, if I'm gonna jump off of something, I need something to land on, not the fucking floor. I need a table, something that I can take a back bump on, an ass bump on, something. It was brutal, man. It hurt me when I seen it, man. I could feel it, man. It was.
I don't watch it. Every time I watch it, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. I'm like, nah, I don't want to watch it. Well, somebody's trying to send me the Sid Vicious one. It's like, I don't want to watch that one either.
Oh my God!
Sorry, I don't want to watch none of it.
I don't watch it anymore either. I don't think I've ever watched it, but probably about 4 times from when it actually happened. I don't like watching it either. That's like watching the videos on YouTube or Facebook, or you see those fighters, the MMA fighters, go to throw a leg kick and their damn leg just break in half. Like, fuck that, man. Fuck that, man. I feel for you. That was what was your thoughts when you first hit? Because you could tell, I mean, you could tell that your tone was, you could sense the fear in your tone when you yelled out.
So, like I said, my mama, when I was younger, she was an ENT and EMS, and she taught a lot of classes to the firefighters, to the local town, but it was done down at the firehouse. And a lot of times we would have to go because no childcare. And we would take part in these classes to learn these things like first responders learn. Right. And it stuck with me throughout my life because, you know, it was one of the few things my mom ever did with us. So when I landed, the first thing I wanted to do, I felt like a tremendous pain from the top of my knee all the way up to the lower part of my back. And I was hoping, I dislocated my hip, in all honesty. So I went to roll away to assess how bad it was. And when I saw that, like, I'm laying on my back and my leg should be straight up in the air, or at least bent forward at a rate that's proper to the leg or the body, and it's not. It's over here next to me, and my kneecap is touching the ground, and my thigh is doing a rainbow thing next to me. And as soon as that happened, like, I guess because I had tried to move and the bones had separated more, so I guess, you know, you feel all that. And I tried to go back to cradle to put the leg back. And when I went back, I don't know if I jerked it, what happened, but like one of the things we learn is when people start to go in shock, they start to feel cold. They start to feel cold. They get shortness of breath. You know, it's basically like their body is this tremendous trauma. Your body goes into this response mechanism, which is a shock response. And one of the things I always worried about, or that we were always told to worry about, is when somebody goes in shock, you got to worry about them swallowing their tongue. You got to worry about them not breathing. Like I was more worried about me doing these things because I knew I was going into shock. So my first response was to tell somebody that I know this is going to happen. And I need you all to know to help. And thank God Daphne was there. She was a fucking angel and a life send. She was there immediately. As soon as I went into shock and I passed out, and she put my head on her lap to watch me and everything else. But it was right after she got that boob job. And her boob jobs were fucking, they were there, okay? And I remember coming back to, and me being on the ground and like kind of on my side where this leg, you know, where I had pulled this leg back in to kind of protect it. And my head was on her lap, and I look up and all I see is two boobs. And then she peeks her head out past the boobs. She's like, "You okay?" And it made me laugh, even throughout the pain. Then when the paramedics got there, they gave me 2 doses of morphine, and it did fucking nothing. They put me on this gurney and tried to get me locked into the ambulance. So when the gurneys go into the ambulance, you're supposed to push them in these lock mechanisms so the gurneys don't float around while the ambulance is driving, right? Right. They couldn't get it to lock, and they kept jamming me in there trying to get it to lock because you're supposed to roll it in and connect and it lock around that wheel to keep it, you know, sturdy. So they kept doing it with luck, like jamming me as my fucking leg. Like I had to tell them, guys, look, at this point in time, just give me the fucking hospital. Stop trying to jam me in here. I'll float around. Just fucking stop. So they ended up just getting in there. And I was floating around this damn fucking back in the ambulance. And we get to the hospital. That doc, it was so fucking, it was almost comical. The doc comes in and he's like, all right, so your leg's broke. And I felt like going, no shit, Sherlock. Seriously,
Right.
it's broke. Are you sure? Are you fucking sure? Because my smart assness, and they give me really good drugs once I got there.
Right.
But that night, Joey Eastman, Daphne, and Sarah Del Rey came to the hospital, and I was all fucking drugged up. They had to do surgery, but they couldn't get me into the next morning, so they were trying to keep me as cut. And I had to be strapped down to the fucking backboard they put you on when they pick you up, put you on the fucking gurney. I had to be strapped down to the gurney or the backboard all night. So I'm sleeping on this piece of fucking like hard ass plastic, and if I try to move it away, fucking immediate. Like I push that little morphine pump. But they came in and visited me, and of course Del Rey felt terrible, but it wasn't even her fault. I told her, I was like, I just didn't want to hurt you. I was more worried about hurting you than I was hurting me, and that's how I've always been with wrestling. But yeah, everybody makes fun of me because I say I'm going into shock, and I'm like, no, I really went into shock. As soon as I stopped being, I was out. I was like, no, my body started twitching and everything. I went into shock, full blast.